The Seattle Seahawks didn't just win Super Bowl 60, they exposed the entire NFL. A defense that made elite offenses look helpless, a team nobody expected to dominate, and a championship run built on pure destruction. Now, the biggest question in football is this: was Seattle's rise a shocking one-year miracle, or has the NFL officially created its next unstoppable dynasty?
Here we go. Super Bowl 60 is underway. Seahawks defense has been just unstoppable today.
Defensive ass kicking on an offense where that has really no answer for you.
Sam stops, looks, throws, got a man wide open. Touchdown, Seahawks!
I'll match us up against anybody.
And they're the best in the world. Defense wins championship.
And now they can taste it. The Seahawks win Super Bowl 60. They are bringing the Lombardi back to the Northwest.
Welcome to NFL Live. Look at that. Just 9 weeks away from the season opener, which of course is a rematch of last year's Super Bowl between the Seahawks and Patriots. You were just reminded of the way all that went down. We can't wait for it, right? We got Adam Schefter, we have Booger McFarland, we have Mike Tannenbaum here for the hour. It's good to see all of you. Let's talk about the defending champion Seahawks as we begin the show. They did lose a key piece, right? Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker, who signed with the Chiefs in free agency. To help replace him, Seattle drafted former Notre Dame running back Jadarian Price in the first round. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak left to take the Raiders head coaching job, and there were some notable departures on the defensive side of the ball as well. We know how good that defense was. Adam, what more can you tell us about the adjustment in Seattle this offseason after the departure specifically of Kubiak?
Well, it's a big adjustment. Again, we know they lost Kenneth Walker to the Kansas City Chiefs. Zach Charbonnet, the other starting running back, is coming off a torn ACL. And Clint Kubiak, their former offensive coordinator, is now the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And to replace him, they reached out to the 49ers and hired the 49ers tight ends coach, Brian Fleury, to coach the Seahawks offense to replace Clint Kubiak. Now, Fleury comes with great reviews. They love him in Seattle. They had high regard for him in San Francisco, but he has never called games or plays at the NFL level before. So nobody knows exactly how that's going to work out. That's going to be an adjustment, and it's going to be an adjustment that's made without some key pieces at the running back position. And so the Seahawks are going to find out early on where they are offensively. But I think there's a question mark as to how this offense is going to perform earlier in the year until they can figure out how they get used to each other, how they replace the running backs, and how Brian Fleury steps in.
Adam, I had a chance to work with Brian Fleury in Miami, and I think he's going to do a great job. It may not happen overnight, and you already mentioned the running back position. Kenny McIntosh is somebody else that's coming off of an ACL injury, missed last year. So that puts pressure on Jadarian Price, their first-round pick out of Notre Dame. And typically, first-round running backs get on the field when they can prove that they're excellent in pass protection. If there were a couple of flaws in Sam Darnold's game last year, he had too many interceptions and he was sacked too many times, 27. So Jadarian Price's pass protection is something that Seattle's going to have to watch closely in the preseason.
So when you bring over somebody from San Francisco to run your offense, you can best believe the offense is going to major in the run game and play action pass. And that's what Sam Darnold excelled at last year, guys. So I'm not really concerned about the offense. Moreover, what about the defense that was dominant and Mike Macdonald is still there? I think the defense is going to be outstanding. You still have Leonard Williams. You still have Ernest Jones. You still have Witherspoon back in the secondary. To me, this defense was playing as good as or better than anybody in the National Football League last year. And we had an opportunity to interview Mike Macdonald on the set, Chris Berman and I, after the Super Bowl. And you could see his wheels still turning after the game about how their defense played. I can't wait to watch this defense because the guy in charge of the football team, the guy in charge of the defense, he is a mad scientist just from a defensive perspective. So as much as we give Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and all these offensive genius a lot of kudos for what they do on offense, Mike Macdonald is the same way on defense. And let's not forget, this team won because they ran the football, they had timely play action pass from Sam Darnold, and that defense was the best in football when the season ended.
And Booger, it's not just his mind, but his disposition. When you speak to him at the owners' meetings in March, a lot of coaches are usually coming off the glow of a Super Bowl victory. I remember saying to him, you feel the glow following you? And he looked at me like I was crazy, like there was no glow. He's like, no, nothing's different. We're just here getting ready for another season. And he legitimately meant it. Like, that is the way that he is wired. He was not thinking, boy, we won the Super Bowl. Boy, I've elevated my stature, my standing. Boy, my peers look at me in a different light. He was just there, taking it all in and thinking about getting ready for the 2026 season.
That's exactly what Seattle fans should love to hear. And by the way, that defense called themselves the dark side last year. I wonder what they'll change to this year. The NFC West is expected to be a gauntlet once again. Now, coming off a surprise run to the Super Bowl last,
They sent a warning to the entire NFL because this was not supposed to happen. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year, a transitional season, a team still searching for its identity after moving on from the old era. Instead, Seattle created a nightmare nobody saw coming. A defense that turned elite offenses into confused, desperate, powerless units. A team that nobody ranked among the favorites suddenly stood on the biggest stage in football and proved one brutal reality. The NFL underestimated Seattle. Super Bowl 60 became a statement. The Seahawks defense attacked from the opening whistle. Every snap felt like an announcement. Every possession became a reminder that Seattle had built something different. And when the final moments arrived, the Seahawks were not celebrating a lucky championship. They were proving they belonged. Now the question shaking the league is no longer what happened to the team. Instead, how quickly will they be able to get back on the floor? Can Seattle compete? The question is much more dangerous. Did the Seahawks just create the next NFL dynasty? Because championships can happen by accident, but dominance? That is something completely different. And Seattle may have discovered the formula. But before the NFL accepts a new powerhouse, the Seahawks must survive the biggest challenge of all, replacing the pieces that helped build this championship machine. Winning a Super Bowl changes everything. Because the moment you reach the top, everybody starts trying to take pieces away. And Seattle immediately felt the price of success. The biggest loss came at running back. Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker left Seattle and signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. The player who delivered on the biggest stage was suddenly gone. And the problems didn't stop there. Zach Charbonnet, expected to take on a larger role, is recovering from a torn ACL. Kenny McIntosh is also returning from injury. Suddenly, the defending champions are entering a new season with serious questions in the backfield. Seattle responded by making a major investment. They selected Notre Dame running back Jadarian Price in the first round. But here is the uncomfortable truth. First-round running backs are expected to contribute immediately, especially when the team has championship expectations. And for Price, the biggest test may not even be running the football. It will be protecting the quarterback. Because Sam Darnold's biggest concerns last season were clear. Too many interceptions. Too many hits. 27 sacks. For a championship team, those numbers cannot become a weakness. Because the margin between repeating and collapsing is incredibly small. One injury. One mistake. One weakness exposed. And suddenly the entire NFL is waiting. But the biggest question surrounding Seattle isn't the running game. It is the man responsible for replacing the offensive system that helped them win it all. Championship teams are often built around consistency. And Seattle lost a major piece of that consistency. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak left to become the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. His departure creates one of the biggest questions heading into the 2026 season. Can Seattle's offense survive without the architect who helped unlock Sam Darnold? The Seahawks turned to Brian Flores, coming from the San Francisco 49ers organization. The reviews are impressive. The reputation is strong. But there is one undeniable fact. Brian Flores has never called plays at the NFL level. And now he inherits a team with championship expectations. There is no rebuilding period. No patience. No excuse. The expectation is winning immediately. The good news? Seattle's offensive identity fits what Flory believes in. A powerful running game. Play-action passing. Creating opportunities through deception. And that matches exactly what made Sam Darnold successful last season. The question is not whether the system makes sense. The question is whether Seattle can execute it under pressure. Because every champion faces the same enemy, complacency. And Mike Macdonald knows that better than anyone. While the offense enters a transition period, the defense remains the reason the entire league is terrified of Seattle. If there is one reason Seattle believes this championship is not a fluke, it is the defense. Because what Mike Macdonald built was not just effective, it was destructive. This defense made quarterbacks uncomfortable. It created chaos. It attacked weaknesses before offenses even realized they existed. And the scary part? Mike Macdonald believes it can become even better. After winning the Super Bowl, many coaches would enjoy the moment. The celebration. The attention. The recognition. But Macdonald was already thinking about the next season. That mindset tells you everything. This is not a coach satisfied with one championship. This is someone chasing something bigger. People talk about offensive masterminds like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. But Seattle may have found football's defensive version. A coach who sees the game differently. A coach who treats every opponent like a puzzle waiting to be destroyed. The defense called themselves the Dark Side. And honestly, that name fits. Because opponents aren't just trying to beat Seattle anymore. They are trying to survive them. With players like Leonard Williams, Ernest Jones, and key pieces returning in the secondary, this defense still has the foundation of a championship unit. And now the entire NFC West has a problem. Because Seattle is no longer chasing respect. They already earned it. But the final question remains, can this team turn one unforgettable championship run into an era of dominance? The NFL changes quickly. One year, you are the surprise team. The next year, everybody is hunting you. That is the reality waiting for Seattle. Every opponent will bring their best. Every quarterback will study this defense. Every weakness will be attacked. The Seahawks have the talent. They have the championship confidence. They have a coach who refuses to relax. But history is filled with teams that reached the top and disappeared. The difference between a champion and a dynasty is simple. Can you do it again? Seattle has already proven they can shock the NFL. Now they must prove something much harder. That Super Bowl 60 was not the ending of a perfect season. It was the beginning of a new era. Because if Mike Macdonald's defense keeps destroying opponents, if Sam Darnold continues controlling the offense, if the young players replace the stars who left, then the NFL may not be looking at a one-year miracle. They may be looking at the next unstoppable force in football. And the rest of the league? They are officially on notice.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.